Michael Shepard with Perfecting Pizza. I'm here in Wisconsin visiting with AgroPure, and today we're going to show you how to add PZ44 dough conditioner into your dough without having to change your recipe at all. We all have those nights when we're super busy, ran out of dough, you've got to make some emergency dough on the fly, you don't have 24 or 48 hours to let that dough rise like it should. You throw in some PZ44, you speed up that maturation, you speed up that gluten development, and boom, you can use that dough a lot sooner than you could have without PZ44. PZ44 can also be used to enhance browning and add flavor as well. The two main ingredients that do those jobs are going to be L-cysteine, which increases the speed at which the gluten develops, and you're going to have the whey, which is what gives it the browning and the flavor. In addition to PZ44, AgroPure also has PZ42, which is deactivated dry yeast and whey. So instead of having L-cysteine, we've got the deactivated dry yeast, which does that job of helping speed up the gluten development. PZ55 is the dairy-free version, which has maltodextrin instead of whey, but still has the L-cysteine. So I want to take you real quick through how to make a batch of dough using PZ44. It's really simple, it's really easy. There's really nothing extra you have to do. PZ44 can be added at a ratio of 1 to 2% of your flour weight. The recipe we're going to use is for a traditional American style dough. This is a dough recipe that you can find on our website, perfectingpizza.com, as well as on the worldpizzachampions.com website. We're going to start with 32 pounds of high gluten flour. Next, we're going to have the IDY, the instant dry yeast. We're putting it in at a ratio of 1% to flour weight. If you're going to be making this dough to be used right away, you would want to go ahead and put 5 ounces in. If you're using this dough to be retarded and in a 24-hour or 48-hour rise, you want to use 1.5 ounces. Now it is important when you're putting the yeast in that the yeast is not put in direct contact with the salt. Put yeast in on one side, salt in on the other side. So next we're going to put the sugar in. Sugar we're going to put in a ratio of 1% to flour weight, so this is going to be 5 ounces. Sugar is going to be in there to give some fuel to the yeast, and it's also going to aid in the browning. Next we're going to go ahead and put the salt in. The most important thing that the salt does is it adds flavor. In addition to flavor, salt also strengthens the dough as well. We're going to put it in at 1%, which is 10 1/4 ounces. Our final dry ingredient is going to be our PZ44. We're putting this in at 2%, which is 10 1/4 ounces, and we're just going to dump it in right on top of everything else. All right, so we're going to go ahead and raise this mixer bowl. We're going to mix all these dry ingredients for about 30 seconds to blend them all together evenly throughout the flour. So next we're going to go ahead and put the water in. This is 54% hydration in this recipe, which 54% of the flour weight turns out to be 17 pounds and 4 ounces of water. We're going to go ahead and put this in. We're going to let that batch mix for 3 minutes, and we're going to come back and add the oil. Allowing that dough to mix for 3 minutes gives the time for the flour to absorb all of the water evenly before we go adding oil into the mixture. We're going to go ahead and let that mix for 7 more minutes, and then we'll be ready to cut and ball it. So now that after our dough has finished mixing for 10 minutes total, we're going to go ahead and pull it out of the bowl, we're going to cut it, and we're going to ball it. Whenever lifting a full batch of dough out of the mixer, you always want to use 2 people so you don't risk throwing your back. So next we're going to go ahead and take some plastic wrap, cover the entire dough ball. We're going to let it relax here on the bench for about 5 minutes. Alright, so now that the dough's relaxed for 5 minutes, we're going to going to peel back the plastic wrap. We're still going to leave a lot of it covered so it doesn't dry out on us. You can cut the dough with whatever knife you feel comfortable with. Some people like to use this. Some people like to use one of these. Some people like to use this. It's whatever works for you. I'm going to go ahead today and use this. We're going to cut our dough ball. We're going to scale it out. We're going to round it. Now that we've done an entire tray of dough, we're going to take some plastic wrap that's large enough to cover the entire tray. We're going to cover it up. And then we're going to mark it with today's date, along with what size the dough balls are.